Before we begin this video, I would like to highlight that the proceeds from these videos are donated to the Palestinian cause. Welcome to Teaching by Asim. I'm your tutor Abu Bakr, and today we are going to be solving Pearson Edexcel International GCSE exam. The paper references for MA 1/2 HR. So let's begin. Question asks us, write 1400 as a product of its prime factors. Show your working clearly. In order to solve this, we will keep dividing 1400 by its prime factors. 1400 divided by 2 is 700, 700 divided by 2 is 350, 350 divided by 2 is 350 divided by 2 is 175. Now we divided by 5, the most obvious prime number to be divided with, and we have 35, again 5, 7, 7, and we get 1. Now these are the prime factors, so the final answer would be something like 2 cube times 5 square times 7. So pretty simple stuff. So second question asks us, describe fully the single transformation that maps shape A onto shape B. So what I do to solve these questions is I pick this corner of this shape and I see where it is, how many steps it has moved in the translated shape or transformed shape. So if I go down, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So it is -5 in y-axis and 1. Oh, sorry, it is 1, 2, and 3. So it has moved 3 units right on the x-axis. That's a +3. So the transformation would be translation via translation vector 3 minus 5. Moving on. 2b asks us that on the grid above, rotate the shape 180 degrees about -1 and 0. Now this is our center of rotation. In order to solve these questions, what I do is I label the center of rotation on the graph. So this is my center of rotation, and in order to imagine what our shape rotated 180 degrees would look like, so imagine that this is our normal shape, and rotating it 90 degrees would give me something like this, and rotating it 180 degrees would give me a shape like this. So this would be our shape, and now in order to plot it as the name of the shape C, what I do is I draw a straight line from each corner of the original shape to the center of rotation and try to replicate that with a scale. And now with a scale it's very easy. I don't have a scale right now, so it's gonna be ugly, but you get the point, and you need to just follow these steps in order to solve these type of questions. For this corner, I draw a line and I try to replicate this line, and for this corner it's 1, 2, 3, 4 steps. Sorry, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 steps to the right and 1 step up. So I draw the line, and using that I would take it 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 steps up and 1 step down, so it would give me a point here. And if you do this by drawing a line, it would give the same result. And now for the final coordinate, follow the same steps. Like this is 1 and 2 steps up, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and using this you go 1 and 2 steps down and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this would be the so this would be your original new shape. Let me just make it neat. So this would be your new shape C. So you draw this and you get full marks. So now moving on. 3 tells us, here is the list of 4 numbers written in ascending order of size, where x and y are integers. The numbers have a median of 12.5 and a range of 4. Find the value of x and the value of y. So notice that the range is the difference between the maximum value and minimum value. So 15 minus x should be giving us 4. X is equals to 11. So now that we have x, let's label this 15. So Now it wants us to find the median. Median is the middle value, and since we have four values, these two numbers are the median. The midpoint of this would be our median. So 11 plus y over 2 is equals to 12.5, and like that we can find what is the value of y. 12.5 times 2 is 25 divided by 11. 25 divided by 11, oh sorry, I'm not dividing it, I have to subtract it by 11. 25 minus 11 equals to 14. This is our final answer. Now that we have x and y, this is our final answer. Put it here, 11 and 14. So we have question 4. It gives us a set from numbers 1 till 10, and we have set A, which are factors of 6. So these will be 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5 are not included in this. So 1, 2, and 3, and 6. And prime numbers would begin with 2. Note that 1 is not a prime number since it has exactly one factor. For any number to be a prime number, it should have exactly two factors. 1 and itself. So 4 is not a prime number, 5 is, 6 is not a prime number, 7 is, and 8, 9, and 10 are surely not prime numbers. So we need to write A union B, which means we have to write all of these without repeating them, of course. So 1, 2, 3, and 5, 6. Oh, sorry. Make sure you write it in order. 5, 6, 7. So this is our answer, and we need to write A naught. A naught means everything other than A. So we write 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, and note that 4 is also missing. So 4 is also included, and this is your final answer. And Harpreet states that A intersection B is an empty set. So this means empty set. Harpreet is incorrect. Explain why. Because if we look at our sets, then we see that A and B have two numbers common. So we write because A intersection B is 2, 3, or you could write it in plain English and this would be able to get you across the line. Moving on, we have two sets A and C. This is a very simple explanation if you do it with a Venn diagram. So we have three sets. A union C intersection C has two numbers, and B intersection C has two number. However, they have nothing in common. So if you go back to our sets, we see that A has two numbers which are not common with B, and B has two numbers which are not common with A. So this means there are 5 and 7 and 1 and 6. So let's just write 1, 5, 6, 7. This is our final answer, and you should be able to score these marks. So question 5 asks us that show that the diagram shows that the design for a badge which will be made using wire. The design is a circle inside a square A, B, C, D. The circle touches the square at the points E, F, G, and H. The area of the square is 81 centimeter square. Calculate the total length of wire that will be needed to make the square and the circle. Give your answer correct to three significant figures. So the tricky part here is getting the circumference of the square, but the area, as we know, is length into breadth, and since it is a square, these two are equal. So area would be L square. So 81 equals to L square, so L would be effectively 9. So now that we know that this side is 9 centimeter, half of this side would be 4.5 centimeter if we think of it that way, and this is also the radius of this circle if we cut it in half. So the circumference of circle is calculated using the formula 2 pi r, and since we have 2 pi 4.5, we get 28.27, and rounded to three significant figures, this is 28.3. And we need to find the perimeter of square, and since it has four sides, each side is 9 centimeters long, so it would be 9 times 4, 36. 36 plus 28.3 would be your final answer, which is 64.3, accurate to 3 significant figures. So this is your final answer, full marks. Now moving on to question 6a. Solve 2f over 3 equals to 4f minus 17. Simple stuff. So 4f minus 17, we get 2f equals to 12f minus 3 times 17 is 17 into 3 is 51, so it will be 10f equals 51, f equals to 5.1, if that is okay. Yeah, that's our answer. So part B of the same questions ask us e plus 12 raised to the power 0, where e is greater than 0. So know that all positive numbers raised to the power 0 equals to 1, and so answer will be effectively 1. Simplify fully. 12a4 a raised to the power 4 h raised to the power 6 divided by 4. So let's take these things separately. Over 4 times a4 over a times h6 over h2. So this is 3, and this is a cube, and this is h4. So it makes it makes it simple if you break things down. Times h4, or a better way would be to remove the multiplication sign, since it implies that these two are getting multiplied if you do not put anything between them as well. H4, this is the final answer. Moving on. Questions D part asks us factorize fully 20 x raised to the power 5 into y plus 12 into x raised to the power 3 into y raised to the power 4. So we need to take the highest common factor between these two terms. So 20 and 12 have a common factor of 4, says 4 times 5 is 20 and 4 times 3 is 12. And for the variables x and y, we can see that x cube is the highest you can go within string x raised to the power 5, and y is the highest you can go within string y raised to the power 4, and taking the factors as common. So it would be 4x cube y, and we need to divide both 20x5y by 4x cube y, and we need to also divide 12x cube with 4x cube y. So this would be x square, y cancels, and this would be 5x square we get, and in here we get 3, and x cube cancel, and this will be y cube. So it would be 5x square plus 3y cube. This is your final answer. Pretty simple stuff, nothing much to explain here. These questions are free marks for your exam, practically speaking. 7. Find the value of n, where the expression is 3 raised to the power minus 2 into 3 raised to the power 5 whole divided by 3 raised to the power 10. So in order to explain you, I would like to take these fractions apart and solve them separately. So this is 1, and 3 raised to the power 5 is separate from that. Okay, so note that when we need to convert a power from negative to positive, we take a reciprocal. So 1 over 3 square divided by 310 would be another way to represent the same thing, and 1 over 3 square into 1 over 3 raised to the power 10. And since these two terms are getting multiplied, we get 1 over 3 raised to the power 12, and if you bring this here, it gives us 3 raised to the power of 5, and this cancels, and we get 1 over 3 raised to the power 7. And if we want to compare it with 3 raised to the power n, we got to take a reciprocal. So we get 3 raised to the power minus 7 equals to 3 raised to the power n, and comparing these two, we get n is equals to minus 7. In a sale, all normal prices are reduced by 17% according to question 8. The sale price of a fridge is 6,225 rupees. Work out the normal price of the fridge. Now this is the sale price. This is not the normal price. Normal price and sale price are two different things in this question. So imagine that this is our sale price. Now something used to be the normal price of this and it got reduced by 17%. So the normal price is reduced to original by 17%. So originally, if we go 9 a normal price times 83%, this gives us 6225. So by solving this, we get 6225 divided by 83% or 0.83. We get 7500 as the normal price. So this is your final answer. Question 9 states write 6.04 into 10 raised to the power 5 as an ordinary number. So let's imagine 6.04, and in order to multiply it with 10 raised to the power 5, we gotta assume that this decimal is moving 5 places to the right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So the ordinary number would be 604 triple 6,04,000 in other terms. This is your final answer, and write 7 in 0. Tetra 0 7 in standard form. So the decimal needs to be so that 7 is the significant figure. So we take 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 steps back. So 7 times 10 raised to the power minus 5, minus because we are dividing it. So the answer is 7 into 10 raised to the power minus 5. So C part says work out 7.6 into 10 raised to the power 10 divided by 4 into 10 raised to the power 5 minus 2 into 10 raised to the power 4. Since you have calculators allowed on this exam, technically there is no point of this question, so you could solve it with the calculator, or if you want to show one extra step, just put this denominator in the calculator and then simplify it. So 4 into 10 raised to the power 5, 4 into 10 raised to the power 5 minus 2 into 10 raised to the power 4 gives us 7.6 into 10 raised to the power 10 divided by 3.8 raised to the power, well, technically it gives us 380,000, and I need to make it 3.8, so I would go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So it would be 3.8 10 raised to the power 5. So it cancels and we have 10 raised to the power 5, and 7.6 divided by 3.8 is 2, so we get 2 into 10 raised to the power 5, our final answer. Very pointless stuff. Question 10 states the diagram shows a hexagon A, B, C, D, F, and this is a trapezium. A, B, C, and F is a trapezium, and E, F, C, D is a square. So let's take it step by step. So in order to find the area of the trapezium, let me complete the question. Angle BCF equals 30 degrees. AB, FC, and ED are parallel. Calculate the area of ABCDEF. Sure, working clearly. So in order to find the area of the trapezium ABCF, we need to first find the area of trapezium, and area of trapezium is half sum of parallel sides, and so this is equals to this 20. This is also 23, by the way. So 11 plus 23, and we need to find the height. So height would be, imagine something as bx times bx, and in order to find bx, we can see right here that we have a right angle triangle. Right angle triangle helps us imagine that this is bxc, this is 30 degrees, and this is 5. So using trigonometry, we know that sine 30 is bx over 5. So sine 30 equals bx over 5. So bx would be 5 sine 30. So plugging it into the formula for area, we have 11 plus 23 times 5 sine 30, and putting it in the calculator gives us 42.5. And now for the second area, area B, It's very simple, just a rectangle whose area is 4.7 times 23, and we get 108.1, and if we sum these two we get 150.6. This is your final answer. Moving on. Question 11. The cumulative frequency table gives information about the time in hours that each of the 60 workers spent working from home in 1 week. So we have time, and these are the total hours. So up until this point, everything below that is also added up. So we have cumulative frequency. On the grid below, draw a cumulative frequency graph for the information in the table. So notice that on the maximum boundary we plot this 5 and 6 and 10 and 17, 20, 19, 18 and 17, and 15 and 27, 30, 29, 28 and 27. So 20 and 42. A lot of students tend to get it confused with a bar chart when it is not a bar chart. It would be a bar chart if we weren't given cumulative frequency. So keep that in mind for your exam. 25 and 53, 51, 52, 53, and 30 and 60. This is our final point. Join these and you get our cumulative frequency graph. Page is an extension of the cumulative frequency graph. Use your graph to find out an estimate for the interquartile range of these times. Interquartile range is Q3 minus Q1. So 60 times 3 by 4 is Q3. It would give us 45. So if I go on my cumulative frequency graph and see that 45, and if I trace this till here and trace it down, we get 21, I guess. No, we get 22. So Q3 is 22, and in order to find Q1, 15, and repeating the same process, go to 15 on your cumulative frequency and trace it back down. We get 8. 22 minus 8 is 14, so 14 is the answer. Know that even if you mess up your graph, then you still get marks for calculating the correct interquartile range even with a flawed graph. So 11's part C, it says 25 workers spent more than W hours working from home. Use your graph to find an estimate for the value of W. So if 25 is greater than W, so we could find out that 60 minus 25 equals 35, and 35 work less than W. So we go on our graph and we see that how many cumulative total hours 35 workers have worked. It gives us roundabout value somewhere like 19, 18, 17 and 16. Oh no, it's 15.5, 16, 16.5, 17, 18 and 18.5. So 18.5 is the correct answer. Well, these type of questions have a range depending on your graph, but 18.5 is a very safe answer. Now, part D of question 11 asks, one of the 60 workers is chosen at random. This worker spent H hours working from home. Find the probability that that he worked between 5 and 10 hours. So the first we need to find the number of workers that have worked between 5 and 10 hours, and graph is not useful here, rather we need to work with the table. So if we see that between 0 and 5 hours 6 workers have worked, and between 0 and 10 hours 17 workers have worked. Now this is a cumulative frequency graph, so 6 is already added into it, and with something else to give 17. So we can say that in our solution space that 17 workers worked between 0 and 10 hours, and 6 workers worked between 0 and 5 hours. So 11 workers worked between 11 workers worked between 5 and 10 hours. So since we have the number of workers that work between 5 and 10 hours, the probability is from total. So the probability that between the 60 people 11 would be working between 5 to 10 hours. So this is our final answer. Question 12 tells us in the diagram ABC and AED are straight lines. BE is parallel to CD. AE is equal to 10 centimeters. CD is 1.5 times BE. Work out the length of ED. Now let's redraw these shapes separately. A, E, and B is a separate triangle, and ADC is a much bigger triangle. So the ratio between BE and CD is 1.5. So we can see that these are similar shapes, and the rule about similar shape is that the length of their corresponding sides will remain in the same ratio. So AE and AD will have the same ratio as 1.5. So this would be 1.5, AD would be 1.5 times AE, would be 1.5 times AE. So by making it in an equation, we can say that AD is equals to AE into 1.5, and the question already tells us that CD equals to BE into 1.5. So if we write it down in our solution space, that AE side would have the same ratio as BE over CD, and if we expand them, we know that AE equals to 10 and AD is equals to 10 plus AD. Why I say that is because AE is 10 centimeters, and as an extension of that we get ED. So AD is equals to AE plus ED as well. And here we have BE, which is divided by 1.5 times BE, and we can cancel this out. Then we have 10. Oh, I made a mistake. This is ED, as I told you before. We have 10 plus 10 over 10 plus ED equals to 1 over 1.5. 10 into 1.5 equals to 10 plus ED. 10 into 1.5 is 15, and 10 plus ED is on the other side of the equal sign. ED is equals to 5, and this is your final answer. Part states that AB equals to 2x plus 5 centimeter and BC equals to 3x minus 5 centimeter. Work out the value of x. And going back to my shape, I see that AB and BC are, so AC would practically be AB plus BC, and we have the value of AB and BC, and the ratio between these two is ratio between AB and AC is supposed to be 1.5. So if I say that AC over AB should be equals to 1.5, that would not be wrong, and AC is actually AB plus BC and divided by AB. So now we have made it pretty simple since we have all the values, and we can solve it for x from now. 2x plus 5 plus 3x minus 5 over 2x plus 5 equals to 1.5. So we get 2x plus 5 plus 3x minus 5 equals to 3, and 1.5 times 5 is 7.5. Sorry, there's an x here. So solving for x, we get 2x, and 5 cancels, this cancels, we get 7.5. X is equal to 7.5 divided by 2 is 3.75, and that is your final answer. Question 13. Question 13 states that OAB is a sector of a circle with center O and radius r centimeter. Angle AOB is 60 degrees, as we can see, and the perimeter of this sector is p centimeter. Perimeter is the sum of all these sides. This is r, so this would subsequently be r as well, and this is the circumference. Find a formula for p in terms of r. Give your answer in the form p equals to r c pi plus k, where c and k are values to be found. So let's work it out. So we know that the area of the sector's outline is 2 pi r for a full circle, but since this is a sector with 60 degrees, so it would be sorry, my bad, it would be 60 over 360, and this is r, and we need to keep it in form of r. So 2 my bad so it would be 2 pi r times 60 over 360 plus r, and now we just make it look better. It would be 1 and 6 plus 2r, and it would be 2 pi r into 1 by 6 plus 2r, and this cancels, so this would be 1 by 3 pi r plus 2r, and if we take r common, we get 1 by 3 pi plus 2, and if we go to our original requirement, this is r, this is c, and this is k. So yeah, checks out. So our final answer is r, 1 by 3 pi plus 2, and full marks. Question 14 states Adriana is going to roll a biased dice and spin a biased coin. The probability that the coin will land on heads is 0.8. The probability that the dice will land on a 6 and the coin will land on a heads is 0.24. So these are two events, and the probability of these two outcomes is 0.24. Work out the probability that the dice will land on a 6 and the coin will land on lands on a tail. So let's make a tree diagram. So the probability that she gets ahead on the coin toss is 0.8, and the probability that after the heads she gets a 6 is a. So we know that the probability of these two events will be the outcome of multiplying 0.8 times a is equals to 0.24. So a would be 0.24 divided by 0.8, 0.3. So the probability of getting a 6 is 0.3, and since probability is equals to 1, the probability of not getting a 6 would be 0.7, and same is the case in the case of tails. So 0.3 for a 6 and 0.7 for a 6 not some other number. So work out the probability that the dice will land on a 6 and the coin will land on tails. So 0.2 times 0.7 should give us the 0.2 times 0.3, because we need a 6 along with the tails. So this is tails 0.2 and a 6 0.3. So 0.2 times 0.3 will be 0.06, and this is your final answer. Question 15. The question states that A, B, BC, CD are three sides of a regular pentagon, and CDE is a triangle, BCE is a straight line, and the shape is very important over here, a regular pentagon. CD is 6.5 centimeters, CE is 3 centimeter. Work out the area of the triangle CDE. Actually, CDE, this is the triangle where this is the angle we're looking for. Give your answer correct to three significant figures. So just for your general knowledge, GK, the exterior angle formula for exterior angle of a regular my bad, regular polygon is n divide 360 divided by n. So if we have pentagon, then 360 divided by 5 would give us 72. So now, since this is forming a pentagon, the upper half is not relevant for us. So now that we have the exterior angle, this angle is 72 degrees. And so let me just take it in full focus, and we have 72 degrees here. 6.5 centimeters is the hypotenuse and 3 centimeters is the base. We know that we need to find out this length, let's call it A. So sine 72 would be A over 6.5, and A would be sine 72. And to find the area of the triangle, we would use this imaginary line that we just created, A, as the height of the triangle. So in order to find the area of the triangle, we all know that the formula for area of a triangle is 1/2 times base times height, which we just found out to be, oh sorry, my bad, it's A times A equals to 70 sine 72 times 6.5, so it would be 6.5 sine 72, and solving this would give us our answer. So the answer is 9.2728, and the question's requirement is three significant figures. So let's just cut it off here, and the answer is 9.27. Question 16 is saying here are 6 graphs A, B, C, D, E, F, and write down the letter of the graph that could have the equation y equals to minus 1 by x. So this is just stuff that you need to learn. There is no logic behind it. This is the graph of y equals to 1 over x, and y equals to 1 minus x means that all the x values are negative. So the graph of 1 minus x, let me just use a different color for it. So the graph of y equals to 1 y equals to minus 1 over x would be like this. So just remember this. And so from the given options, this is the correct answer, E. And y equals to sine x, the graph of sine is like this. And let's just find our, now notice this looks similar to this, but notice how I made the cycle starts from here, whereas this is a cos curve, where the cycle is starting from above and like this is not a sine curve, this is the sine curve. Just remember this stuff, and answer is A. So question 17 is about functions. F of x equals x over 2x minus 4 and g of x equals 3x plus 1. Given that fg of k equals to 2, work out the value of k. So before we begin, note that there are two functions. This is a function within a function, sort of like inception, dream within a dream, and function within a function. So for every value in this function where you find x, you will replace that x with this expression. And since our question has changed from x to k, this becomes k, and this becomes k, and everything else becomes k, and x is basically replaced by k. So let me neat this up, and so let's begin. And so we have 3k plus 1 to 3k plus 1 minus 4 equals to 2. And solving about solving for k, we get 3k plus 1, 6k plus 2 minus 4 equals to 2, 3k plus 1, 6k minus 2 equals to 2, 3k plus 1 equal, and we send this whole expression to be multiplied over there. We get 12k minus 4, and 4 comes here, 3k goes here, and so this is 9k equals to 5, k equals to 5 by 9, and this is your final answer. The examiner just wanted to test you if you can handle algebraic equations and solving for x. Students, we have question 18. Use algebra to show that 0.306 repeating is equals to 34 by 111. So what this means is that this is repeating indefinitely. Like sometimes you divide something with something which is not divisible by that something, and it goes and goes and goes. So this is the same case. Now just for our simplicity, let's say that this whole indefinite sequence is x. Why this helps is because we now have a variable that we can manipulate. So instead of calling it 0.306, 306, 306, and so on, we now call it x. This is like calling your friend with a pronoun like that person, they, them, he. So now that we have x and we have this indefinite sequence, we can write it in standard form by going 1, 2, and 3. So it would be 1000x, alright, it would be 1000x equals to 306.306.306, and 306. And note that the original x we had was 0.306 and 306, so on and so forth. So if we subtract 1000x with x, then the repeating portion disappears. So we do just that. 1000x minus x gives us 999x, which is also equivalent to just 306. So now we have this important equation for us, which is 306 time divided by 999, and if we divide it both by 9, we get 34 by 111. I know this can be difficult to get your head around, but it just tests your concepts on algebra. So the final answer would be, I hope, oh, there is no answer space, so yeah, once you show, you're good to go. Question 19 states Aviv goes on a cycle journey. For the cycle journey, average speed is 19 kilometers per hour, correct to the nearest whole number, and time is 1.5 hours, correct to one decimal place. Work out the upper bound for the distance Aviv travels. Give your answer correct to three significant figures. So in order to find the upper bound, we know that he traveled 19 kilometers per hour rounded to rounded to the nearest whole number, but that doesn't rule out the possibility that he could have been traveling at 19.49999 kilometers per hour at any time, at any point in his journey. But since we are rounding it down, we rounded it down, and we ignored this possibility when it's actually plausible. And same for time, we are assuming that he traveled 1.5 hours when he could have been also traveling 1.549999 hours as well, but we rounded it down, and but it's still plausible that his time was uh, close to this. So this is the maximum that we could have gone while staying within the one decimal place rounding and one significant one whole number rounding. So the upper bound of his speed could be something like 19.49 times 1.549, and the answer would be, if you multiply this, this is 30.1 90001 and correct to three significant figures. This is 30.2, so the upper bound that he could have been traveling at this speed at this many kilometers per hour is actually plausible. No, this is not kilometers per hour. I misread the statement. This is actually kilometers, because kilometers per hour times hours is cancelling, and this gives us kilometers. So this is the maximum distance that it could have traveled if you consider the maximum speed and the maximum time that it could have taken. So the answer is 30.2. So question 20 states solve x square minus 7x minus 20 is greater than 0. Notice that this is an inequality and not an equal sign. So we cannot solve we cannot solve quadratic inequalities like we solve algebraic inequalities. So first of all, you need to find the values of x. Step 1 is to find the values of x. I will use a quadratic formula. You can use factorization, and this is the quadratic formula. You need to show sufficient workings to your examiner. I will be using a calculator to plug these values in, and we get x is equals to 5 by 2 and x is equals to minus 4 by 3. Now I need you guys to visualize this, that this is the x-axis on a graph, and somewhere over here is minus 4 by 3 and 5 by 2. And what a quadratic curve does is, quadratic curve cuts these 2 points, goes below the x-axis and then comes back up, and the question is interested in the values of x that are greater than 0. That will give us area which is greater than 0, 0 as in y-axis. So this is the 0 in y-axis, and anything above that is what we want. So this area and this area is perfect for us, because this is under the shadow of this curve. This area is not under the shadow of the curve, because we take whatever is below the curve, not above the curve, as area under the graph. So the answer here would be x is greater than 5 by 2 and x is less than minus 4 by 3. So this is your final answer. And you get full marks. Okay, boys and girls, we are at question 21. ABCD is a square. The point A has coordinates 5, minus 5 and 2. The point B has coordinates 3 and 5. Find out the equation of the line that passes through B and C. Give your answer in the form AX plus BY plus C. Now let's just imagine that this is our square A, B, C, and D. We know the points A and B, and we know that since this is a square, there will be perpendicular lines. So AB is perpendicular to BC, which means that gradient of AB would be a negative reciprocal of gradient of BC and vice versa. So we can find the gradient of AB using the points and formula. It would be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, which gives us 3 by 8, and this is ABM. And if I divided by if I 1 divided by this means reciprocal, and a negative 1 would give us minus 8 by 3. This is gradient of BC. Now we are not interested in the point C, we are interested in the line that cuts through B and C, and for that line we have the B coordinate and we have the gradient of this line, so we can easily form an equation for this line. Now using the points, we get y minus 5 equals to minus 8 by 3 x minus 3, and sending 3 here, we get 3y minus 15 equals to minus 8x plus 24, and we get 3y minus 8x minus 15 minus 24 is minus 39 and equals to 0. Sorry, I made a mistake. Since this is coming here, it would be plus. So the final answer is 3y plus 8x minus 39 equals to 0, and we satisfy the original form required by the, oh, we do not actually. We need ax plus by, which would be 8x plus 3y, and all set. And 22 states solve the simultaneous equations. This is 1 1 and this is 2. 2 is much simpler to be plugged in 1 than 1 it is, than making the x subject in 1 and then plugging it in 2. So we get x squared plus 3x minus 1 whole squared equals to 3x minus 1 plus 11. We get x squared plus 9x squared plus 1 minus 6x, and we get 3x plus 10, and we have 10x squared. This comes here, we get minus 9x, and this comes here, we get minus 10 plus 1 is equals to minus 9 equals to 0, and using the quadratic formula, b square minus 4ac over 2a. You need to show proper workings because it's your examiner's requirement. I, for my own personal reasons, can use a calculator obviously. 10 minus 9 minus 9, and the values for x are 3 by 2 and x is equals to minus 3 by 5, and we need to plug both of these values into the second equation to get two values for y for every corresponding value of x. So y is equals to 3 by 2 minus 1, which gives us 9 by 2 minus 1, 9 by 2 minus 1, 3.5, and y is equals to minus 3 by 5 times 3 minus 1, which gives us minus 9 by 5 minus 1. We get minus 2.8. So yeah, x is equals to 3 by 2 and 3 by 5. Y is equals to 3.5 and y is equals to negative 2.8. You're all set. For consistency, I would suggest use fractions over here, but I used decimal, but it should be okay. Question 23 is about functions. A curve has equation y equals to f of x. The coordinates of the minimum point on the curve are 6 and minus 3. Write down the coordinates of the minimum point on the curve with equation y equals to f of x plus 10. So note that this is our curve and we have the coordinates 6 and minus 3. So what this means is that whole curve is getting translated plus 10 units up. So if originally we have y equals to minus 3, we add 10 in it, we get 7. So the new coordinates would be 6 7 6 7. For the second part, y is equals to f3 of x. So note that anything multiplied with this is multiplication means is squeeze, and division is stretch. So just think of it that anything you imagine that y equals to f of x plus 10 is moving it plus 10 units up, but if the same is done with x, it has an opposite effect. So if it was, let's suppose, f a plus 1, it would be negative 1 units down. The x coordinate would move down instead of moving x up, and minus 1 would be positive 1 unit up. The curve would move up. So there is an opposite psychology, reverse psychology, whatever you want to call it, for your memorization. But just know that if something is getting multiplied, then it is a squeeze, and if something is getting divided, then this is a stretch. So we can see that whole curve is getting squeezed 3 times. So if our original points are 6 and minus 3, it would now be divided by 3. So we would get 2 and minus 3 as our new turning point on the curve. So this is the final answer. Thank you. In Gales, we have question 24. The diagram shows a solid S made from a cone and a hemisphere. Hemisphere is actually half of a sphere. The center of the circular face of the cone coincides with the center of the flat surface of the hemisphere. The radius of the circular face of the cone is x centimeter, is equal to the radius of the hemisphere. Obviously, this is, so something over here is the midpoint, and this line are supposed to be equal because they're both the radius of the hemisphere. The total height of S is 4 times the height of the hemisphere. So if this is A, this would be 4A. No, this would be 4A and this would be 3A. So yeah, the total height of S is 4 times the radius of the hemisphere. I made a mistake again. This is, if this is R, obviously, then this is 3R and this is 4R. Instead of A, we need to use the right terms. A separate sphere has radius kx centimeter. The volume of this sphere is 12.5 times the volume of S. So let's just say that the volume of sphere is, now we're working in solid S right now, and for solid S the volume of sphere, this sphere is important for the total volume of the solid S. Then the volume of sphere S is 4 by 6 pi r cube. The formula for a full sphere is 4 by 3 pi r cube, but since this is a half sphere, the formula is 4 by 6 pi r cube. And volume of a cone, is, and just to be clear, since we know that the radius of this is x centimeters, so let's just use x cube, and the volume of cone is given in your formula sheet. Let's just go and check it out. So it's pi by 3 x square times height. So let's write it down. Pi by 3 x square times height, but in order to find height, we know that height of this cone is 3 times the height of x, so it would be 3x. And just to make it more clear, it would be 3 when 3 would cancel, it would be pi x cube, and so the volume of the solid S would be 4 by 6 pi x square plus pi x cube. My bad, this is not square, this is cube, and adding this means we have 4 divided by 6 plus 1 gives us 5 by 3 pi x cube. And now there is a separate sphere which has the radius kx centimeter, and the volume of this sphere is 12.5 times the volume of S. So the volume of S into 12.5 would be the volume of the other sphere. So 12.5 times 5 by 3 pi x cube equals to, there is a full sphere, so the formula for that would be 4 pi by 3, and its radius is kx, so r cube is k cube and x cube. And so just solving this, we get 3 and 3 cancel, x cube and x cube cancel, pi and pi should cancel, we get 12.5, 5 equals to 4 k cube, and 12.5 times 5 divided by 4 gives us k cube equals to 125 by 8. Taking it on to the next page, k cube equals 125 by 8, k would be cube root of 125 by 8, and k is equals to 2.5. Voila. So sorry, so second part tells us a solid T is similar to solid S. The volume of T is 512 times the volume of S. The total surface area of T is D times the total surface area of S. So note that this is a similar solid. So for similar solids, I have a rule for you guys to remember for your exam, that if two shapes are similar and let's say k is the factor between them, that the question states that the volume of S is k times, and the height of S is k times of T, and so on and so forth. So if S is the original shape and T is the new shape, and if the factor is k, then height would increase just by multiplying, and area would increase by square of that. So if the height is 1.5 times, then the area would be 1.5 squares time, and the volume would be 1.5 cube times. So the volume of T is 512 times the volume of S. So actually we're getting that k cube is equals to 512 and k is equals to 8. And so we need to find D. K is not the answer here. K, the factor, is not the answer here. The total surface area of D times the total surface area of S. And so as I mentioned, that area increases by square of that factor, and since that factor is 8, then k square would be 8 square and k square would be 64. So D is 64. So we have question 25. OPQR is a parallelogram. OP is equals to 2a. So going up is 2a and going right is 3b. The point M lies on PQ such that PM is 1 by 4 PQ. So this is 1 and this is 3 and this total is 4. And the point N lies on RQ such that Rn equals to 4 by 5 RQ. So Rn is fourth part of this, and this is one fifth part. So the total RQ is 5 in terms of ratios. Find in terms of A and B, giving your answer in the simplest form. ON, for ON we need to go here and here, so it would be something like 3b plus 2a, but it is 4 by 5, and that gives us 3b plus 8a by 5. So 8 by 5, oh, just to make it neat, it would be 8 by 5a plus 3b. This question we need to find MR. In order to find MR, I need to go here and then here. This is 3 by 4 times 3b, and this is a full 2a, but it's down, so it will be negative 2a. So minus 2a and plus 3 by 4 3b, so it would be minus 2a plus 9 by 4b. Okay, so the third part, b part, probably the most difficult part of this question, states that MR and ON intersect at the point Y. Now let's just go back at our diagram. Point Y is this, and MR and ON are intersecting at point Y, as we can see. Given that OY equals K times ON, meaning a factor, use a vector method to find out the value of K. So let's just assume that this whole line ON is 1 in terms of ratio. So OY would be K ratio and YN would be 1 minus K. And similarly, if MR is one whole line, and so if MY is x of that, so MYR should be 1 minus x, and we know that OY equals to K times ON. We know ON is 8 by 5a plus 3b, so OY would be equals to K 8 by 5a plus 3b, which will be equal to 8 by 5 Ka plus 3 Kb, and we need another route for this, which will be from here till here till here, and let's just find that. So OY would be PM, sorry, first we go OP. For your clarification, we go OP, then we go PM, and then we go MY. OP plus PM plus MY, and MY as we know it, MY is the x of MR, and we have MR is actually the answer of the second part, minus 2a plus 9 by 4b, minus 2a plus 9 by 4b. So just remember this. Now solving, we get 2a plus pm would be 3 by 4b. Since it's 1 by 4 of 3b, it's 3 by 4b, and my would be x times minus 2a plus 9 by 4b. Solving further, we get 2a plus 3 by 4b plus minus 2ax plus 9 by 4bx. Now taking the terms with a and b common and factorizing, we get 2a minus 2ax plus 3 by 4b plus 9 by 4bx, and we get a common, 2 minus 2x, and we get b common, 3 by 4 plus 9 by 4x. And if you notice, the two paths to OY should be equal, right? And if we take our other path that we calculated, which is 8 by 5 Ka and 3 Kb, a times 8 by 5 K plus 3 Kb, so it would be b times 3K. These two this and this should be equal. And similarly, the coefficient of a in this case and this case should be equal. So solving these simultaneously, we get 2 minus 2x equals to 8 by 5k. This is our first equation, and 3 by 4 plus 9 by 4 x equals to 3k. And now we have two variables in two equations. You can solve them simultaneously. I am going to use a calculator. Your examiner requires some sort of working, so please don't skip that. Solving them simultaneously, we get x equals to 1 by 2 and k equals to 5 by 8, and k is the point of interest in this question, and you get 4 marks. A little bit of a tough question. I gave you a run for your money, but it was fun. We have question 26 with us. Write 4 minus 3x minus 5 divided by 3x squared plus x minus 10 divided by 4x minus 1 as a single fraction in its simplest form. So I already can see the hint that this needs to be factorized. So let's just get done with this first, and we have this. So know that 3 is a prime number, so there aren't any factors that make 3, so 3 will come alone, and within the range of 10 we get 5 and 2 that would multiply to become 10 as the constant, and this is a plus x, so if you multiply this with this we get 6x, and 6x minus 5x, yeah, so this is minus and this is yeah, you should be able to factor. Now on with the question. 3x minus 5, 4x minus 1, 3x minus 5, x plus 2. Now see, the question is so simple from here. You just cut, you get 4 minus 4x minus 1 and x plus 2. Now in order to subtract 4 from this, we need to multiply this with this. We get 4x plus 2 minus 4x plus 1 and x plus 2, 4x cancelled, and sorry, have I done something wrong? Yeah, 2 and 4 is 8, not 2. We get 4x plus 8, and 1 plus 8 is 9. 9 over x plus 2 is the simplest form we could get it to. That's your answer. If you made it till the end, a gruesome exam, and you completed the watch, and I hope you attempted the past paper and scored well. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel, and hope to see you soon with more subjects and more solutions to help you out with your past papers. Thank you.